me ask you a question. If you landed your dream client or partner tomorrow, would you be confident that you could get them the results that they were actually looking for? And if you had a client that you already love working with let you know that, hey, we got to cut our marketing budget and eliminate your contract, would you know which metrics to show them to convince them to stay? Let me know in the comments if you're on YouTube. This all has to do with a term called ROI, or return on investment. And in short, as freelancers, as creators, as contractors, we need to know how to speak to this concept. We need to know how to prove to our clients and partners that the money they're putting in, that they're investing in our roles, in their team, in these different marketing efforts are actually yielding them the results that are going to ultimately impact their bottom line in business. Especially when you start to command higher rates and become a true expert in whatever it is that you do, you got to be able to showcase this. You've got to be able to reassure your clients that their investments are worth it. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. But before we hop in, a quick announcement. I am so excited to share that my favorite tool for pulling beautiful reports, looking at day-to-day insights, and planning and scheduling content, and a whole lot more, is now an official partner of the Freelance Friday podcast. It is Metricool. Metricool is a free social media management scheduler, reporting tool. They do so many amazing things. And they're actually gifting my listeners 30 days free on any of their pro plans if you'd like to test that out by using the code Latasha at the link in the show notes. I'll have a little bit more on some of their reporting features in a bit, but for now I want to hop into my quick tips. So when it comes to proving ROI, first you have to know what you're actually proving. And by that, I mean that you need to identify the goal. Whether you're working with a client or whether you're thinking about, these tips for your own brand, you need to know what your goal is in the moment. And I know you're probably thinking, Latasha, it's obviously just to make more money. But dig a little bit deeper. Make sure that you are able to drill down a bit on what make more money means. Does that mean sell a particular type of product or service? Does that mean that they need to make some headway in a new market that they haven't explored yet? Does that mean that they need to kind of reactivate their existing follower base or their existing customer base and encourage them to purchase again? So really get a good understanding of what sell more or make more money means, and then also track back to the sales funnel. Really understand how that purchase gets made, how people sign up for what. Are they clicking a link? Are they sending a DM? Are they, texting something? Or is the goal not even sales at this point? For a lot of brands, if they're just starting out, realistically, you're probably not going to be, expecting to make millions of dollars in sales on day one when you start a social media strategy. For most brands, you need to spend a little bit of time in that awareness and engagement phase of the sales funnel, meaning that your goal might actually be to grow followers or to generate more engagement for your brand before you're even looking at that full path, those full conversion metrics, at least in the very beginning. And of course, if you're working with a brand that maybe is a nonprofit, it's a charity, something like that, sure, of course, at the end of the day, they might want more donations, but they also might just be looking to generate awareness for the topic or the cause that is important to them. So those metrics are going to be different than, a handbag company, for example. Same thing, I work with a lot of startups, specifically in the tech space, and a lot of times they're actually way more focused on engagement and follower growth in the very beginning, because what they're looking to do is actually pitch to investors. And investors often want to see that you can build a buzz about the business and that people are excited about whatever product or service that it is that they're selling before investing. So really dive deep with your clients, get to know what they want to measure so you can measure the right thing, which brings us to step 2. So once you know what the business goal is, It's your job as a marketer to then map that business goal to a social goal. There are so many different things that social media can do, right? It can generate awareness for you, it can generate conversions, it can be more of a branding piece and positioning, messaging. Maybe you're working with a brand that wants to sort of repair a tarnished image. Maybe they had some bad PR in the past. So they're really just looking for positive mentions about them, things like that. There are so many different things. Customer service is another huge one. So figure out what key metrics or key performance indicators, as we call them, you are going to measure that's going to indicate the overall health of the brand. So, of course, if you're working with an e commerce brand and their number one goal is sales, well, then you're probably going to be looking at website clicks from a social media management perspective. Your ultimate goal is to drive traffic over to their website so that people can purchase their stuff. If you are working with one of those maybe cause-based organizations, an NGO, a nonprofit, maybe it is just awareness. Maybe you want to look at numbers like impressions and reach. So how many people are actually seeing your message. Maybe you are looking at a number like follower growth if you're a startup who's actively looking for new funding and wants to impress those potential investors. So figure out what that key performance indicator or indicators are going to be, and then communicate that to your client as well. Make sure they know, hey, I'm Latasha, I'm your social media manager. My key performance indicator is going to be website clicks. It's going to be my goal to raise that number every single month. Of course, I'm going to be focusing on raising all of the social metrics, and they usually work, together. They usually rise together, but that's going to be my key goal. That's my number one goal for this partnership. And in turn, that is the key thing that I'm also going to be reporting on. And here's how often you can expect reports. For social media managers, I recommend that you pull a monthly report and that you go over it with your client as well. In an ideal world, you'd be having an hour-long meeting with your clients to go over this report and then also talk about what's coming up for the next month. Do they have any specific, goals that they want to reach? Do they have any special promotions? Are there any holidays that you want to promote? Did anything go really well last month that you want to repeat? Did anything not go so well that you want to avoid? That's a really great practice to get into. But in order to have that meeting, you have to know how to measure those metrics. So this is where my favorite tool, Metricool, comes in. They have a reporting feature that allows you to fully customize those reports. You can choose which platforms you want to look at and which individual metrics are most important to include on there. So again, you're definitely going to want to have your KPI or your key performance indicator on there, but you can also include some maybe secondary metrics for your clients and yourself to look at and analyze as well. And to celebrate our new partnership, I actually invited the US employees to chat a little bit about what they're seeing with some of their clients, what they know about the marketing industry, and how Metricool can help. So let's hop over to that. So I am here with Alex and Anniston from Metricool. Do you want to introduce what each of you does for Metricool really quick?
Hi, I'm Alex. I'm the US social media manager for Metricool. So I am in charge of basically getting out all of the social content for all of our connected social media platforms, as well as me and Aniston make up the entirety of the US marketing team. So we do a lot of influencer marketing as well as PR, email management. We kind of do a little bit of everything.
Hello, my name is Anniston. I am the SEO copywriter for the US team at Metricool. So basically, I help edit the copy for the website. I write blogs for our blog, create YouTube videos, and just kind of a lot of educational resources and information about Metricool. I help translate and adapt our weekly newsletter. So just a lot of writing on my end, but also help Alex tackle influencer marketing. And her and I work closely to kind of build out, the future of what we want our team to look like, which is exciting.
Amazing. Love it. So how would you answer this question that we're talking about today, which is how can social media managers prove ROI? I know you both talk with a lot of your clients. I'm sure, like Aniston, you're writing case studies, writing blogs about what your clients are doing. So, what are you seeing from them of how they're actually able to prove that ROI?
So I think that one of the biggest things is our analytics, and I'll let Aniston go into the reporting because she explains it a lot better than I do. But for us, analytics proving our ROI is super important by being able to, go into each of your platforms and seeing what is and what isn't working, and then being able to deliver that and being able to replicate that content.
For sure.
I also think people get really overwhelmed by metrics, and so they kind of analyze them and don't really know what to do with it. So I think that having a report and having, live analytics, and understanding how to interpret them is super important. So here at Metricool, we want to provide those metrics and then also kind of provide the resources of how to interpret them. But I think reporting is huge because you can see just at a monthly, weekly, daily scale of your evolution, and then also diving into specific metrics for specific platforms. So you can kind of see, where you're lacking. So then you can focus on better strategies. And I think sometimes that gets overlooked because it doesn't seem like a big, oh, well, like, what is that really going to help? But I think kind of fine tuning those specific strategies really helps in the long term.
Another great thing is that a lot of people, because social media is constantly changing, I think a lot of people do tend to overlook any growth or any progress that they are having. So, having those analytics and having those reports to really track your progress over time is vital. You might think that nothing is happening, but you go back 6 months and you're like, wow, like I really have grown so much, or this type of content really has worked for me, this type of content hasn't. And being able to see that in a nice, like, streamlined, clean format is just so valuable for just not even social media managers, but marketers in general.
Yeah, I was just talking about that to one of my students the other day because it's like social media is a long game. Like building up a new platform, it doesn't happen overnight for most of us unless you get lucky and have some, huge viral video or something. But so it can feel very discouraging sometimes if you're not looking in the back end. It's like, oh, I'm not at 1 million subscribers yet, or, whatever your goal is. But when you do, just take a quick peek at those insights, especially if you have them beautifully displayed in a nice report and you see all that green, you see all those things that are going well. Like those are indicators of what's going right. And then you can scale that, keep doing more of that, and that will get you to where you want to go. So that's super important. What about metrics to look at? Because I think, when I talk to people who are new at looking at these reports, sometimes they might feel overwhelmed. I mean, you can get so deep, which is what I love about Metricool, is that you can get so deep in the analytics, but you can also pick and choose what you see. So, is there a metric that you think everybody should be looking at no matter what, or where should people get started when they're building these reports?
As like a social media manager, I tend to look at engagement the most. And I know that upon like starting social media, everyone thinks that it's the followers, like that number count that is the most important. But personally, I think engagement is such an important metric because, you can have 1 million followers, you can have like, 500,000 TikTok followers, all the things prove really high numbers in that regard and get absolutely no engagement in terms of no one is commenting, no one is interacting with your content. And how can you really prove that what you're giving out is valuable if no one is interacting with the content? So I think engagement metrics are super important to look at, like even just in a short time frame or over a long period of time. I think it can be really indicative of if you are connecting with your audience, whether you are a brand or a business or even like a personal brand. I think
Yep.
that engagement is just vital.
Yeah.
I think also click rates are huge. I mean, it depends on obviously your goals as a business and as a company, which is also huge because you really need to first define what your even purpose of, social media and digital marketing is. But then once you have that, then you can, go into, okay, so are we actually driving people to our website well? And instead of just looking at likes and,
Mhm. Yeah.
comments, because whereas those things can be helpful in terms of who is seeing your content and reach, you really want to, at the end of the day, drive people to your traffic or drive people to your sites or your landing pages. So that is
Yeah.
huge also.
Yeah. I'm in total agreement with both of those things. Like, I get a lot of questions too from creators who are like, what should I be focusing on if I want to work with brands? And, 5, 10 years ago, it was all about follower count, subscriber count. But now, I mean, you both work on the brand side. I'm sure you can probably agree. It's about engagement. It's about like you said, Alex, you can have 1 million followers and none of them actually talk to you or click on your stuff, or so that's not really valuable to a brand. And same thing for if you're a freelancer running someone's social media. At the end of the day, those things can look really good, but what does it actually mean to that goal? Like you said, Anniston, setting that goal in the beginning. Okay, what do you think about why do people need a tool? Because all of these different social platforms have some analytics within them natively. Why do you think it's helpful to have it all in one place and to have a tool to actually be able to help you analyze this stuff?
I mean, I'm biased, but
Yeah.
if you think about just the task of going into TikTok and then going into Instagram and then having to document those numbers in Google Drive or wherever you document them, it takes a lot of time. And then when you have to manually report that, that takes even more time. So the nice thing is that you can view metrics day by day or week by week or, at any period. It just saves you, one, a bunch of time. Two, you know that you're getting accurate data and, you're not having to go into accounts manually and be like, okay, this post did well. But yeah, it just goes into more depth without you having to manually
Yeah.
report or do anything.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, on top of just saving time, like you can also see it all nicely laid out in terms of like all of your platforms in one location. So you can really easily see like, hey, like this is working for this many platforms. This is not working for this specific platform. What can I do? So not only are you getting, platform by platform specific analytics, but you're also getting this nice overall picture that you obviously can't get in the native apps because that's only focusing on that one specific platform.
Yeah, for sure. One of the things that I really love about the reports are that you can actually click on the post, like it gives you a link to your specific post. Because I know sometimes when I'm looking at like YouTube's analytics for me in particular are always a little confusing because I'm like, well, what video did I post when I got this big spike? And I kind of have to go backwards a little bit, go to my channel page and figure out what date it was. And it's a little bit of a headache. So within the tool, I'm actually able to like click on individual posts and see what drove those spikes or what didn't perform so well. And then I also just love that you can automate it. Like, I don't have to think about it because we're busy as social media managers, as creators. Like, I don't have time to sit around and put calendar alerts to pull reports all the time. There's so many better uses of my time. So, the fact that I can just have it automatically emailed to me is amazing. Okay, so something else I wanted to ask about is different types of marketing. Like, we're talking about social media, obviously, posting organic content. I think a lot of us kind of get how to view those metrics. But what about if you're doing, like you all work on campaigns with other creators and things like that, or ads, for example? Like, what are some ways that people can start to track effectiveness of those different marketing types and, measure how they're doing and make decisions about organic versus ads versus influencer marketing, that kind of thing?
If we were to look at ads and you were to go directly into Ads Manager in Meta, it can be a little bit overwhelming because there's a lot of different options. And for people who are starting in ads, that can turn them off, I think. We kind of have a like a ads for dummies almost, where you can still run ads through Metricool, but it gives you pretty simple options, which guides you nicely to build out campaigns that are still effective, but in an easy, understandable way. And then you can, view your campaign analytics of from Facebook, Google, and TikTok. So people who are wanting to just start and play around with ads, this is a great place.
So going off of how we have an ad platform within Metricool, another great feature that we do have that can help you with like some external metrics is we added a UTM link builder within our planner feature. And if you are not familiar with what UTM links are, they're a way for you to specifically track your campaigns. So you can, you can set like if your traffic is coming from Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, you can set a campaign name and you can really put in those details into these links when you're building them out so that when you are going into Google Analytics to look at everything, you know exactly where your traffic is coming from. So for example, if I put a link to a blog post on Facebook and I create it in our planner, then when I go in to look at all of the links that were clicked on, I can be like, oh, this link click came directly from Facebook, and which is just another great way for you to track all of your traffic, especially if you have many places that they're coming from.
Yes, love that. And I know for the freelancers and agencies who work with influencers, that's another really important thing to make sure that if you're, giving your creators a link to share with their audience, that you're tracking that to actually see how many people are clicking and how effective that campaign is. So I love that feature as well. Cool. Well, I think that's all that I have. But anything else you want to share about ROI, analytics, anything like that before we go? Other than it's important, please pull reports.
I mean, I think one of our biggest takeaways too is that even if the metrics are overwhelming for you, we really do just encourage you to get in there and to just, toggle around with the time frame that you're looking at. Look at what you can click on in Metricool. There's so many different ways that you can pull that data and use it to your advantage in your strategy. So we really just recommend like getting in there and playing around with it and getting familiar with the metrics so that it isn't such a daunting thing to do on a month by month basis or however when you're looking at your metrics.
Yeah, agree. It's not scary. It's helpful.
Exactly.
And you can do
Cool.
it completely for free.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Amazing. Thank you both, Anniston and Alex, for being here. This was very helpful. And I will be sure to share resources for everyone to get started with Metricool. I also have a whole video about reporting in Metricool that people can check out too. So thank you so much.
Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much for having
Natasha.
us.
All right, so that's that. Know your numbers, report on your numbers, be sure to communicate these metrics to your clients regularly. It is so, so important. I really hope that this episode was helpful for you. If it was, please drop me a comment if you're over on YouTube. Let me know something interesting that you learned or any questions that you have for me or the Metricool team. And don't forget to use my code LaTasha at the link in the show notes to try out 30 days free on their paid plans, any of their paid plans. A really amazing deal. And I hope, again, that this episode was helpful. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.